Hi everyone, welcome back to GoLocal Live. I'm GoLocal News editor Kate Nagel. I'd like to welcome in my last and final guest for a very important segment today. Eileen Boarman, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
You wanted to tell your story today of what had transpired just months ago when you were sleeping in Providence and attacked unprovoked. And what you're saying is this is a hate crime on homeless individuals, and you want to both bring awareness to what happened to you, but to let folks, leaders, know about the issues that they need to be concerned with about how to protect all Rhode Islanders.
Right. Well, I think, first of all, I'd like to expand a little bit on the reasoning behind why not only myself, but I think others feel it does qualify as a hate crime against the homeless, is that it wasn't an isolated incident. You know, this was like the culmination of a ton of harassment that I had experienced for years on the street, and I've seen others experience. So, you know, and I had been speaking out against it for quite some time, and, you know, rather than, you know, it alleviating or people recognizing there are some issues here with harassment of people, it got worse. It just seemed to increase until I was, you know, attacked. So I can only view it as, you know, I mean, I've still, even after the incident, I have still, you know, suffered or heard people, you know, calling you names, you know, whatever. That is like, but that's how I feel, is that it was a culmination of a long list of harassments that, you know, I mean, this is just, you know, unacceptable. Not that any of the other is acceptable, but, you know, when it comes to this, then something really has got to be looked at.
And they found and they arrested your perpetrator,
Right.
and again, making the case again today, specifically focusing on you, again, vulnerable, not doing anything wrong, and you're saying this is a hate crime.
Right.
This was a crime of hate, and obviously looking to, you know, get some resolution to this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I mean, I think, you know, as far as that goes, I believe sometime in the near future, I think in May sometime, I did talk to some of the detectives on the case today, that it is at least going to have a pretrial,
Okay.
you know, hearing. So, you know, we'll go from there.
But you really want to bring, again, the issue just in terms of Rhode Islanders who might be vulnerable, who might be sleeping on the streets. And as you said, your experience was a culmination of a number of harassing events. You know, what should Rhode Islanders know, both from, you know, average people in the community to leaders, to those folks who, you know, might be in between living situations, might be choosing to be on the streets? I mean, what needs to be done?
Well, I mean, you know, that's a loaded question, but there's probably a lot that can be done. I'm not the only one who would have thoughts on how to solve some of the issues, but there are a lot of people living on the streets. You don't feel safe in the shelters. They're overcrowded often, and there's a lot of violence, and you know, so you do ultimately, you know, it is a choice, but it's a choice you feel you don't have. You know, you don't really have another choice unless you want to be driven insane. You know, in overcrowded, noisy, violent, you know, shelters. So that has to be looked at, and then there's the difficulty in, you know, the whole affordable housing, and I just constantly hear about, you know, the large amounts of grants and money going into affordable housing, and you just wonder, well, where is it? Because,
It's not
and then
going...
when you get it, it's tied to so many programs that you're forced to have to participate in, even though you don't need it and you don't really want it. So, you know, lots of issues. I hope this isn't the end of the conversation. And like I said, loaded question. Many people, I'm sure, have thoughts on how to address some of them.
And, you know, you're bringing your story out and sharing with folks and continuing to do so. I mean, it's how necessary is it to continue this conversation and really hear from those impacted and unfortunately what had happened to you?
Well, I think it is necessary to try to continue it, because otherwise it's just going to, you know, it's yesterday's news, and It's just back to business as usual. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I'm going to, you know, keep my eyes and ears open as I always have and always will to see what, you know, changes I see or, you know, things like that.
Well, I appreciate your coming in, telling your story. I know you've been busy telling it today, but again, letting folks know, again, what happened to you, and again, bringing the face to it, and as you said, continuing this conversation and not letting it just
Drop,
be that headline, and that there's a person
Right.
and a whole community of people
Yes.
that are impacted by
Right,
this.
a whole community of people, very large communities.
Well, Eileen, I very much appreciate your taking the time to come in.
Great.
Again, we'll provide more links as well. We're going to continue to follow your story and others, but I appreciate your strength for coming forward to talk with folks and sharing with viewers here. So thank you.
Great.
I
Thank you
appreciate
very
it.
much.
Wish you well in your recovery. And we thank you for watching today. We'll be back here on Go Local Live. So don't forget to tune in and watch us soon. And of course, catch us on Go Local Prov and on Facebook.